All right, let's go ahead and get started, guys. Welcome to day 4 of the special Notary Assist training with the founder of Notary Assist, Sue Hope. Sue, welcome.
Hello, happy Independence Day. Thank you for being with us.
Yeah, this is huge, guys. My name is Bill Soroka. I'm the founder of NotaryCoach.com and the Sign and Thrive Notary Training Course and Community. Thank you, guys. Everybody who's on the call today, sharing your holiday with us. That's true commitment. I really honor you for growing yourself and your business and learning something new today. So we're on day 4. Sue, welcome back. This is huge for you too. I mean, this is awesome. Thank you for carving out your holiday time with us. I know we really appreciate it.
No problem.
So let's just recap, because I know we got some new faces on today. Give me the lowdown on what Notary Assist is.
Well, first of all, this is how I dress every day. Not quite.
That for some reason.
So try to take me seriously in my nice little hat. We actually provide a service especially designed for the notary public. So we are a business management software tool where you can keep track of all of the aspects that you need to run your business as a notary public, all in one easy to use, very powerful, safe, strong application. We try to bring that to you at the best pricing point possible.
Well, and I think you guys nailed it. Your price point just blows me away, and I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit longer or a little bit later today for sure. And what I really want to highlight, Sue, is that you're just like one of us. You were in the field. You've been a notary for over 20 years. Your husband happened to work in software and helped you design this software, right?
Exactly. So basically, I understand the notary because I am a notary. I'm still commissioned in California. I've only been commissioned in California, so my expertise is in California. But I've been on the road. I've been driving. You get the phone call, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Can you do a signing at 4:30? Yeah, we
Love that.
I've worked with escrow companies that you can swing by, pick up the documents, and just get to the person's house, all the way to my neighbor needs, a travel authorization so that their daughter can travel out of the country with friends or family. So I've done everything from signature by mark to credible witnesses and everything in between. So I understand that you guys really enjoy what you do. You provide a service for the public, and it's a necessary service that we provide so that businesses can run and people can get things done. So what we try to bring to you all is the professionalism of being able to manage your professional business and keep on top of everything. So you know exactly what your income is, who's your best customer, how many miles are you driving, how much money are you spending in gas every month, how much money are you spending in paper every month. We try to give you everything in one location so you can stay on top of what you do and stay out there doing what you love. Because nobody really likes managing how to take care of a business, but it is necessary.
Absolutely. And anything that can help us run more smooth and efficient, I think, is going to benefit us down the road. And one thing that's really clearly demonstrated here is how user-friendly your software is. And not just in what you're teaching us, but so this product has been available for purchase since 2007. So
Correct.
You've got a strong history. And I know I get messages every day since we started doing this training of notaries that just love using this software. So again, I just really want to thank you for taking the time out to go a little deeper with us and maybe show us some of the ins and outs. Today, we're diving in. We are talking about really getting down to business, adding signings, viewing signings, the calendar, and all that good stuff. Can you tell me a little bit more, or tell us a little bit more about what we're doing?
So, we recommend, it's not very difficult. We're spreading this out over a 5-day period, but we're just trying to break it down for you guys so it's super easy. But you can actually hop in and get started right away. We really worked hard on keeping it user-friendly. That's a lot of beta testing, a lot of blind taste, or not taste testing, but testing the software so we could get feedback from the users. If they could intuitively get around the software, then we did our job correctly. So we spent a lot of time in research and development to bring you something that's super easy to use. Now that we've spent a few days getting to know the software and how to set it up specifically for your needs, because every notary is different and every notary has their own little avenue that they like to focus on, you can customize Notary Assist to fit what you need. We're going to actually jump in today with the signing feature. And do you want me to go ahead and hop into the screen sharing? Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go ahead and jump in there and do that, guys. One of the cool benefits that Notary Assist offers is a 100% free 30-day trial. I posted a link in there. So if you want to jump in and start a trial, Sue does not require a credit card at all for your trial. So you can jump in right now and follow along with us if you want to just start building your own. I posted a link there in the chat window. And then the other cool feature is if you did decide to buy her software, she's offering a 25% discount for you as a Notary Coach fan and being here on the training. So
absolutely. We want to invest. We try to help invest in you. You're investing in yourself and making yourself better, which ultimately helps the public. So I'm all for making things easier and better for, all of our neighbors. Come on, we're all happy today.
I'm going to need a couple more glasses of wine for that, too.
Got my tea. My tea with lemon. Anyway, so now we are on. So again, just to rehash for those of you that haven't been here, this is where you're going to be landing once you get started on Notary Assist. And this is the dashboard, and this actually is where you can start navigating through Notary Assist. So the dashboard actually tells you what you have done, number of signings per month, or you can actually flip it into number of dollars that you've earned per month. And down below, if you scroll down, it also shows you a pie chart of your expenses. So this is kind of a very basic visual profit and loss for your business. It's a snapshot of how you're doing for one calendar year at a time. Today, we are going to come to the left-hand side, the navigation bar, which is how you navigate through the entire application. And we're going to play in signings because now we're getting started. We've set up our customers, and now we want to get going. You've got work to put in, and you want to keep track of it. So we're going to click on signings. The menu will open up, and you have two options. We're going to open the View Signings page, and the View Signings page is a data filtered set. Now, by default, Jane has some information in here, and by default, you're always going to land on this year, all of your customers, and all being, this is your status bar. This bar over here is all. So that means all signings that have been paid, unpaid 30, 45, 60, and 90 days. So we default to all because you're just getting in here. And when you're brand new, this is going to be completely blank until you start adding in your appointments. So we're going to add an appointment right now. We're going to add a signing. So you can go to signings, view signings, and add a signing. So if we click on add signing, you're going to bring up the edit signing box. Okay? By default, the data is going to auto pre-fill for you for today's date. But let's say you're putting in information for last month because you haven't had a chance to put it in yet. You can arrow back to last month, select the day, select the time, and if it's AM or PM, and the amount that you were hired to do the work for that appointment. Now this looks not, I was trying to put 75.
Yeah, that's a nice fee.
I was like, that's a nice fee. So in this, you got hired by whoever to do your appointment on June 5th at 5 p.m. for $75. The order number is going to be whoever's hired. This is the internal number for whoever hired you, your customer. It could be an escrow number. It could be a signing ID number. It could be any number that's related to the customer, okay? And then you can pre-fill, because we added customers yesterday, you can select from the box that is the drop-down box, and you can just select the company that you want, that hired you for this. And if you have a contact, who hired you is Lisa. The type of appointment that you're going to could be anything from a refinance all the way down to just handiwork, wedding. Whoever Lisa is and whoever this company is, let us know. This is for today. We're just going to do this as a purchase. And if you have a loan number and you want to keep track of it, you can add your loan number here. The only thing that's required to add an appointment and hold it into the database is the signer's last name. So today is going to be Mr. Signer. So we're just going to call him. Oops. And his first name is going to be Ted, because I like Ted.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't like Ted? So the other thing that we tried to do in Notary Assist to make it a powerful, useful tool are little things that you wouldn't necessarily notice. But we're going to actually link into Google here. And as I start typing any kind of number, it's going to try and find a location near me. So we're using Google Maps to try and autofill. And look, this is the area where I wanted to go. That's Mr. Signer's address. So I'm going to add this address here. Contacts is going to flip over. What's Mr. Signer's phone number? I want to have his number so that I can call him on the road. Maybe I'm early, maybe docs are late, maybe I'm late. And if I have this information in here, this will push to my cell phone as well, if you turned on that Google push like we did a few days ago. So any information that you can add, we try to help push that to your smartphone device. So with as little strokes as possible on your smartphone, you can actually contact the signer, and also contact Lisa, because you put Lisa's information in there too, which means you can contact the title company with one touch at the signing table, looking extremely professional, so that you don't have to sit and try and find her number at the signing table. If there's a co-signer, you have Mrs. Signer, you can add that information here as well. You can add as much information as you want, an email address if you want to follow up with Mr. Signer after the signer so that you can actually send something to him, you can. Same with co-signers. You can add as much information as you would like. As we work across the tab, invoices right here. And a lot of people like to send invoices, professional looking invoices, and some companies don't require invoices at all. So this is here for you if you need to. The invoice sent date is whenever you decide to send the invoice out. The way I like to run for me, I always set it up for the date that I did my signing. I like to say that the invoice went out on the day that I did the signing. This number right here, this date, will start helping Notary Assist count how many days from the day you sent your invoice to the day you receive your payment. And that's how we get that 30, 45, 60, 90 category on the View Signings page right behind it over here. You can also add a payment date. Let's say we got paid July 1st for $75. And you can add the check number or the EFT, electronic transfer. If you don't receive a physical check, you can actually put the correspondence in here. Now you say, what happens if there's an error and Mr. Signer had to be re-signed and the title company only paid me $50 for this particular signing? I can add a partial payment, and it will know that I'm still outstanding money. So we help you keep track of partial payments as well. And then let's say on day you got paid, it'll automatically do the math for you, and it'll suggest that you got paid that last $25 when you make the next payment. So we try to help you keep track of how often you might get paid for any particular service that you might be rendering. We can also clear these payments and delete them, and that's not a problem with the little X button at the side. So if you haven't received a payment yet, you can leave that clear. Coming over one more category is the tracking information. Tracking information usually refers to how did I send my documents back to the title company. Now this is also, again, talking about a signing agent at this point in time. So we give you the opportunity to add the tracking number for FedEx, UPS, whomever, and also you can figure out which company you sent it from, and then what day did you send it. So again, you have all the information that you need for the title company right at your fingertips. Now, if you drop the documents off, you can just put, this is a free form box, you can say dropped off. So you can hold that and not have any. You also, on this page, can keep track of your notarization. Now, this is that whole self-employment tax exemption that we kind of touched on briefly earlier in the week. The number of documents is going to be the number of documents that you actually perform the notarization for at that particular appointment, regardless if it's a signing appointment, a loan signing appointment, or a general notary appointment, or any kind of notarial act. How many notarial acts did you perform at this particular appointment? And we're going to put in 5 for this particular appointment. Now, in the state of California, we are allowed to charge per signature, not per document. The Secretary of State, California, is the one who dictates that. So I'm speaking specifically for my state of California because that's where I'm licensed and I'm an expert there. Many other states have every different rule in the book. So this signatures box is going to be, if you can charge per signature for the signers, let's say this is for Mr. Signer and his wife. So if I signed 2 people, I've got Mr. Signer and Mrs. Signer on 5 documents. They both signed all 5 documents. For California, it would be 10. Okay? But in other states that only allow you to charge per document, regardless of how many signatures are on the document, this would be your signature. So your signature would go in here, and if it was 5 documents, regardless of how many people signed, you would put in 5. So I'm doing a really high-level, broad spectrum communication to you here about how that works. NotaryAssist will take this information and apply it to your state's value. We have some states that are automatic and will automatically place in the value amount for you for your notarial fee. That notarial fee value is self-employment tax exempt. Now I'm going to say a big asterisk right now. I am not a tax professional. Look at me. I am not a professional. So we gather the information for you so that you can put it into an organized place and take it to your tax professional for advice. We give you a place to put everything down so that you can take it and be as informed as possible to maximize your deduction. So this is where we gather that information. And then down here is where you're going to put your mileage. How much time did you spend on the road? How many miles did you drive from your start location to this signing appointment and back? So NotaryAssist will automatically put this in for me. See how I'm going to leave this blank, and I'm going to hit save real quick. It's going to pop in June 10th. I put it in for June 5th. Let me see, where did it go? There he is. Signer is right here. And if I come over here to mileage, I didn't put anything in, but NotaryAssist automatically realized that it was approximately 26 miles away. So it auto-filled that for me because if you remember, under settings and mileage, I selected to use the total mileage calculation and have NotaryAssist auto-calculate that for me. So I did not have to go in there and physically put in a number. Now, let's say I had to stop at Mr. Signer and I had to go to UPS to drop off my docs. I can come into tracking and I can say I need to add another 10 miles, so it's actually 36 miles that I did, and then I'm going to hit save. NotaryAssist will make the adjustment and let you override what automatically was put in, because you're always the most professional person. NotaryAssist just gives you an idea. You're always allowed to override it. And then I'm going to move my little box over here. Sorry, I'm swinging you people over here. We have a tracking number here, and all the way at the very end is an X. So if for any reason you need to delete a signing because it didn't work for you, or it canceled, or it never happened, you can click on the X. It'll ask you, are you sure you want to delete this signing? Be sure, because once you hit this button, it's gone. It will not come back. You have to add it back in. So just be aware. So sometimes if a signing gets postponed or canceled, what we recommend is instead of deleting it, you modify the date to a future date and hold it for about a week. And then if it doesn't come back, go ahead and cancel it or delete it. So that is roughly how to enter a signing from the View Signings page. You can always do a print screen of this information if you want to print this screen. You can print here. And I'm going to talk about these filters right here. Okay, so you can filter this information however you want. It always defaults to this year, but Jane's been with us for a long time, and so she's got years worth of data in here. But let's say she only wants to work with what's this week. Well, she doesn't have any appointments for this week, so it sorts the data for this week. So there's none for this week. You can do custom. You can do a custom date range. It'll ask you from when to when. Hit apply, and it'll sort the data once again based on your custom date range.
It seems like this would be really awesome if you had a busy day. You could just go into today and print out your entire schedule.
And so for some people that like to have their stacks of all their different appointments, you can print this first page or today's date and just drop it right on top. And so you can kind of check your boxes off as you go through your day. It helped me. That's how I use it. So the batch actions up here is a feature that we added last year for those notaries who might do work for a regular customer and they say, don't bill me after each one, but bill me at the end of the month for as many of or at the end of 2 weeks for all the signings that you've done for me. So we've added the ability to batch invoice and also apply payments, because when you get a check from that customer, you might be getting paid for 15 or more signings. You don't want to have to go into every single one of them and apply the payment. So we gave you an ability to apply a payment to all the payments that you need to apply a payment. And the way it works is when you get your check in the mail or however your EFT transfers and you're going to reconcile, you're going to select the customer that you need to take care of business for, whether you're invoicing or whether you're applying payments. So the first step is going to be to select the customer that you need to take care of. It will sort the data by just that company. Another way to filter on it is who's unpaid. It gets rid of everything that you've already been paid for, so it's not in your way, and it allows you to see what's been paid and mark it paid. So you can get in, filter on the data that you need, and get out as quickly as possible.
That's actually, that's a really cool feature, because I do have one of my biggest clients who just sends one big check at the end of the month, and they just list out all the invoices. So this would be a huge time saver.
And it's a lot easier to be able to see what's outstanding too. Or if you've missed a payment for some reason, you got this one just hanging out and you're like, oh, what happened to that? How did that go? Why am I not paid for that? And you either find it in your paperwork, because everybody can miss it. It's called human error. And as you're going through a big list of payments, you might have just missed one. So it helps you reconcile your information too. We like the unpaid button. So if you want to see every customer who's not paid you, it'll sort that for you as well. It also lets you sort on who's been paid. So you can see right with a few clicks what's important, what's necessary. Now, when you do your batch actions, it'll ask you once you sort for the customer, and if I go to unpaid, and if you need to apply a payment, you just click on this little box right here, and it'll apply that payment for you. Obviously, if I had multiple here, you could actually just select all the ones from the list that you want to apply a payment for and hit apply. And it'll just fill in today's date, and it'll assume that you got paid your full price. Now, if you have any that you had contested, like let's say this one didn't pay my full $50, I would want to go in directly into that signing and do a partial payment, not do a batch payment. because this one's outside the norm. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
So that kind of shows you how powerful this tool can be in filtering. Now, depending on your screen size and depending on the data you want to see, remember we can hide our menu bar and slide it over by clicking in the upper corner up here. But we also give another feature for you guys with the gearbox right here in the far corner. So here you can actually change the grid size. So if you want it small, medium, large, you can adjust that so you're not straining your eyes as much. It will adjust how many signings will be displayed on the screen, but you just need to, you know, pick what's right for you, and so it's helpful for your eyes. We're always thinking about you guys spending time in front of the computer too, and sometimes blue blockers or, you know, getting up, walking around. We just want to make sure we're offering as much as we can for ergodynamics and health too. So you can do this. Let's say you're not somebody that really needs to worry about documents and signings. We kind of talked about that a little bit yesterday, how NotaryAssist is kind of functional for other revenue streams. And if you don't need to see this, you can show or hide columns. It'll ask you what columns do you not want to see, and you can turn them off if you don't want to see them. So you can have those turned off, hit save, it'll readjust the categories at the top so that you can see what you want to see.
Oh, that's actually pretty awesome too. So it's
and then
just the info you need. Yeah.
Turn them back on. And again, this helps you with your screen size so that you can access all of your information from whatever device you're using for that day. So it's totally flexible. We totally give you as much power as you possibly can have so that you can utilize the software to the best of your ability. In the far corner, we always show you how many signings you've done to date, what your income has. This is what you've been paid for so far, and what's still outstanding, and then what your cumulative total is for that year. Oops, for that year. So this is up here. So we're going to give you just a quick snapshot of how you're doing on this page as well.
Very cool. You know, I love how.
Five.
I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. No. Did you have a question?
No. Well, we have a couple questions. I wasn't sure if this would be the right time to ask based on what you've already gone through or not. You tell me.
Let me finish one little thing and I'll answer some questions.
Yep, you got it.
So this because I will forget to tell you.
Roll with it.
All right. So this page 1 of 5 is how you actually tab through all the data. If you look here, it's only got June through April on here. But Jane's actually got more signings than that. You can see that there's 100 signings, but there's only a few here. To get through all of the data set, you just page through it, and it'll bounce through. So it can let you know where you've been and what you have. And that goes all the way back to the beginning of the year. So some people come in and they're like, oh my gosh, where did all my signings go? They're there, just page through it. Sometimes, depending on how your browser's set up, this might get cut off. So just be aware that there is a space where you guys can move this backwards and forwards. Okay, I'm good for questions.
Love it. Love it. I love how flexible this is and how clear-cut it is. You know, some of the software and programs I've used and I try to use, just trying to figure out how much money you're making is so hard to see. And this, you've just really laid it out there. I love how clean that is. Now, Abby asked a couple of great questions here. First, regarding breaking out the number of notarizations, is there a way to identify who was the actual signer in each of those notarial acts?
Is there a way to identify the signer for each notarial act? Well, I hope I'm answering this properly. The signer is usually who the signer is doing for the notarial act, and then the second client is the co-signer. So this is who's going to be doing the notarial act right here. So I hope that answers that question.
Abby, if that doesn't answer your question, chime in there for me and we'll ask it a different way. Sure. Her second question, or it was actually her first.
No, you cannot.
Oh, here, I'm going to mute Yvette there. Sorry. Okay. So the question is there a way to track a referral? Like if somebody referred a signing to you, is there a way to notate the account so you can help track that?
For basic information, what I would recommend is coming over to Notes. So Notes is on every single signing. This is for your personal information, and it doesn't go onto any invoicing or anything like that. So you could put this customer as a referral from Sally Notary, and I helped her while she was on vacation, and she's going to help me while I'm on vacation, so I'm going to share the title companies that I work with. So you could put a note in here so you can keep it here, but it doesn't go anywhere. So that's the only bad thing, as far as it wouldn't actually tell you who you referred to. You'd have to drill in. You'd have to know which signing was a referral. We don't have that quote unquote CRM portion of it in NotaryAssist, but we do allow you to keep track of some of that in your information.
Beautiful. And then Kurt asks, how safe is the data contained in your software?
I love that you asked that question.
Good job, Kurt.
Okay, see this lock right up here in the top of the URL line? We are very conscious about your information. See how it says your site is secure? We update this on a regular basis. Our certificates are valid, and our site settings are in compatibility with what is recommended for the highest level of encryption, and to try and be as secure as possible. I will say, every information that we log in a data add location. So when I say that, these are the headers. All this information is a header, which stands out in computer code per se. And these are all encrypted, but the nice thing about all of this is it's all public information. We do not ask for social security numbers. We do not ask for driver's license numbers. We do not ask for a lot of the HIPAA information that's out there, but we are encrypted up to that standard. So we encrypt our data to the same level of banking standards and online merchants throughout the United States and international.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So keeping it just as safe as some of the most personal information, yet not having that personal information to protect.
Right. Now some people might use information in the notes field. So I know some notaries like to add information. I'm going to add a signing here. You might want to put information in here. I would caution you on putting that information in there. It's in the internet. So I would caution here and abbreviate and just put signer A used their passport that expires on this day and it's from this country. You don't necessarily put the expiration date in there and maybe just the last few numbers of it, but not the whole number. I would just try and protect your client if you're putting some of that information in here.
Yeah, it seems like that would be an unnecessary risk considering we're all supposed to be using our journal anyway, regardless.
Correct. So
and even some states may not use that. So.
And some states don't even have journals, so they're using this in lieu of a journal. So I kind of understand that, but again, I would just do the bare minimum in there, just to if you're going to use it that way, bare minimum. But we are encrypted. But we do the best we can. It is encrypted, and it's not got a header to it. But we just try to help everybody stay safe.
Beautiful. Love that. And then Ross asked a great question. We actually talked about it yesterday, though, Ross. So Ross is asking if you can use this software if you work for both signing companies and escrow direct. And I think in particular, it would be the signing companies. And we did talk about how to set up the invoices and how to maybe send ghost invoices. So you're not actually.
The USA, I just got to take it off.
Go for it. Yeah, so Ross, you can review yesterday's too, and if you have any additional questions on that hybrid business model, that's kind of mine that I really talk about and promote. So you and I can talk about that even deeper too, and show you how to use that.
And if anyone has questions about I have this situation and I'm not 100% sure how to do it, give us a call. Our staff is really knowledgeable about how the software works. So we might be able to come up with a solution for you that you just have to learn how to do it. And once you learn how to do it, then that works for that one client that you need. That's just kind of a one-off. But we'll do everything we can to try and help you use the software in the way that's the most helpful for you.
Awesome. It looks like we caught up on the questions there.
Okay, perfect. So the other thing I wanted to show you, if I'm going to, can I keep going?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So the other thing I wanted to show you is signing and new signing. So we give you lots of different ways to add your data information. So let's say you are looking at your expenses and your phone rings. So I'm going to hop over to expenses. All of a sudden your phone rings. Hello, can you do an assigning for me? Da, 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 da. And you say, of course, because that's what we are. We're of course people. So you get the basic information. You're in the view signings, but then you go, I need to add a signing. See how you can just jump right to that even though your expenses are behind you? So you can actually, let's say you're doing catch-up work and you're trying to add your expenses. You can just hop over, add your signing appointment, and save. And that'll add it to the view signings page. You won't see it until you go to the view signings page, but you can access this on the fly. Just like if it's a new customer, you can add a new customer on the fly without having to drill into customers, view customers, new customer. So we're always trying to help you have less clicks and get around the software very easily without getting lost. That's our goal, is for you to not be lost and not to be frustrated. The next thing I'm going to show you guys is, I think I touched on, oops, that's the expenses. Let me go to view signing. Now that I've shown you how powerful this view signings page is, I'm going to move over to one of my favorite parts. I live and die by my calendar. I have to see a calendar. It's just how I work. I like to see it. I like the look of it. It's how I roll. We give you options for the calendar for month, week, or day. And you can arrow back or you can arrow forward. And if you're in the month, you can go back to January if you need to and see all your signings. I like it in this view. This is my favorite place.
Yeah, me too.
So if I'm getting ready to do an appointment and I'm on the phone, I've been adding information for my expenses, and somebody calls me and says, hey, Sue, can you do, wait, let me skip to July because here we are. Can you do a signing on Saturday? Of course I can. Did you see what I did? I clicked on Saturday. So I can actually access my signing data sheet from the calendar as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I can add a signing appointment right here and modify a signing from right here. I can close this. Let me add this just so I have it because I want to do a test signing. I'm not going to add all the parts to it, but then it'll hop right in here. Oh, but it moves to Friday. Okay, I'll move it to Friday. I love this.
That is pretty cool. That is pretty cool.
It makes it super flexible for you. You can change the time. You can click on the signing. It'll open up the signing box for you. You can change the time. It's just really powerful, and it makes it so easy to use. And it just makes me happy. I was like, you have to put a calendar in there. I don't care. You've got a spreadsheet. Yes, you can get there from here. You can get there from here, but put a calendar in there for me. I need a calendar. So here's my calendar, and then you can see it on the week. You can see it here. You can move it in any field. You can move it any day, any time, and it'll change the time for you. And every time you change the time of a signing, remember this? It pushes it to these two right here. So it updates your phone so that you always stay connected. So if you make a change in your laptop or your desktop, it pushes it straight to your your smartphones so that you can stay on top of it. Let's say you have the ability and the luxury of having someone help you out with your business management. Let's say you have a nice teenage child that's home for the summer and they said they'll help you input all your data. They can be logged in at the same time you're logged in, and they can add signings for you, and you can see it while you're out on the road. You can check and see if they're helping you out, even though you're not home. You can see all the information on your phone. All you'll have to do is hit this little refresh button from time to time to make sure that you're not adding the same information that your partner at home is adding. And then you'll see it all reflected right here. And that's super fun too, so that you actually can have a partner helping you add assignments, maybe even if you're at the signing table. So if you have a phone number that rings to an office while you're out doing your signings, the person that's helping you on the other end can add the signings for you, and you'll see it on your handheld device.
That's a really cool feature too.
We try. I am going to touch about a little something that we had talked about not talking about until tomorrow, because it's 4th of July, and I wanted to show you one of the little tools, and it's a little widget that we added just to help people out. So my notary friends need a rescission calendar from time to time if they have to do the 3-day right to rescind. If you're ever doing a purchase or a sale or a refi loan packet, we're responsible for knowing the signing day and when the expiration date of that rescission day is. So we're required to fill it out. So we made a widget inside of NotaryAssist so that if you don't have your fingers handy, which I always do, but you can actually come in here and click on, let's say your signing was Wednesday, it'll tell you what your rescission date is down here. Because obviously the 4th doesn't count because it's a banking holiday, and Sunday doesn't count. So if they signed Wednesday, their rescission is up on Monday the 8th. Now, if we bump to today, it's the same. If we bump to Friday, it changes. Saturday and Sunday are the same. So we have a little widget that is updated on our end. We try to do that for you so that you have a little rescission calendar at your fingertips and you can access it from the signing table when you're right there at the, if you're signing a client right there. So it looks just super professional and you're ready to go. So this is one of the little added bonuses that we do to help keep you guys looking professional while you're out there doing what you do.
This is so cool, and I'm so glad to see that you added this, because I recommend people, no matter what your experience level is, especially around a holiday, and like today's a really great example of that, because you have weekends, you have a holiday involved, you don't know what's going on. Rather than calculate and maybe possibly miscalculate, which is a huge deal with the rescission,
right?
Use a tool like this. That's awesome. I love that.
Now, and I will say there is a little asterisk on that, because we do all the major holidays. For those holidays that you're not sure about, always go back to escrow. Always talk to your title company, because some will find, like Columbus Day, some of these smaller holidays, some places are closed and other places are not. So always refer back, but we always get our information from the National Notary Association for that particular rescission calendar. So that's where we get our data.
Awesome. Love it. And then do you mind if I ask a question? Because John just asked a pretty great question on the calendar.
I'm ready.
Is there anything built in to protect against double bookings in the calendar feature?
Is there anything double? That's a great question. I have not seen it double book. I think the only time you might get a double booking is if you have both Google Calendar and iCal turned on to the same device. If you accept the iCal attachment and you have the Google Push turned on, you'll get it both places. So you could actually get it on the Apple native calendar twice. Does that make sense? But other than that, if you only have one turned on, it's only doing a single push. And Google's pretty good about making sure, because we push to Google and then Google then pushes to your device. Google's pretty good about not double booking, or if there is a conflict, it raises the attention.
Okay. I think that was the question, because if we used your example where you have somebody who's taking calls for you and loading into the calendar, they're actually going to be able to see the calendar too. So
Yes,
they would know when to book. So there's almost kind
exactly.
of a built-in
Exactly.
net there. Yeah. All right, John, I hope that answered your question. I think we got it there. And then a little more general about the expenses. We kind of danced around that a little bit and talking about mileage. Kurt asked a question if you should, let me read it here exactly. Should we use a separate category for gasoline, or should the mileage be used at the end of the year as a general category?
So that's a great question. And again, I would defer that one almost to your tax professional, but I would probably break it out. More data is better than less data. So I would probably break out all of your gas receipts, and then all of your mileage, and all of your auto repairs, all of your tire, anything associated with automobile. I might have an overall automobile category, but then break it down: gas, repairs, maintenance, stuff like that. I'd break it out so that you can take that information to your tax professional, and then they can review it, and they're the ones that will tell you, yes, it's better to do this, or it's better to take that.
Definitely. And then, and Kurt, just speaking of my own situation, my own experience, again, I'm not a tax advisor either, but I break everything out because fuel and mileage are two different deductions in the mind of the IRS. So you definitely want to break that out. And then get yourself a really good tax professional. That is really helpful as well. And then he just found it. How you add that, guys, take a look at day 3's video, yesterday's training, because she breaks out how you can customize the expenses. It's super easy, and you can add as many different categories as you want.
The expenses are there, and then you can always add extra mileage. And I kind of touched on that briefly yesterday, but our little extra mileage feature right here lets you put those extra business miles in that might not be attached to a particular signing. And if you want to break them out specifically, like supply runs, or dropping off documents, or getting postage, anything that's associated with your business, going to get your fingerprints renewed, renewing your bond. If you've got a drive to do any of that stuff, you can add it under extra mileage. NotaryAssist will pull it into your report for your mileage report at the end of the year and put it in chronological order from the date that you did the mileage. So we have a couple of different ways for you to keep track of all those little mileages that you forget too, that are not tied to a specific signing.
This was that really opened my mind, because I really, I've got a really awesome and creative tax guy, but I didn't even think about all of those times you run and pick up supplies or documents for a signing that might be even another day or something like that. So all of that stuff really adds up.
All deductions.
Yep. Powerful, Sue. That's really great.
My goodness. And then tomorrow, it looks like we are tackling the reporting. And so if you take the time to sit down behind, and I recommend when you're really doing your bookkeeping to do it on a bigger platform, just because of comfort. But if you need to, you can do it on a tablet while your grandkids are playing, or if your friends are over, if you're watching the baseball game that happened to go into 20 extra innings. We've had that happen too. So you might want to just take your iPad and do your work right there. You can do it wherever, but spend a little bit of time each day putting in this information, because really good information in helps NotaryAssist give you really good information out. But really bad information in means NotaryAssist is going to give you kind of information out. So, and that's just because we need to know what you need. So you tell us, and we'll sort it all for you. And in a few clicks, you'll have the printout that you need to do your taxes well before April 15th.
Excellent. Beautiful. And there's one more question, if you don't mind, just about the expenses.
Sure.
Can one of your monthly expenses easily be changed to a recurring expense?
Yes. So in expenses, if you go to the view expenses and you need to move something from a rate, you put it in as just a single expense, probably Monday or January, maybe February, or however often. If you want to add a new expense, you just would add if you want to convert that into a recurring expense, you would create a brand new recurring expense and add those expenses. But when you add it, you're not going to want it to go all the way back. You're going to want to think about when you had it before, and before yesterday when I did the demonstration, I allowed it to go all the way back to the beginning of the year. But if you added those expenses in up until May, and then you want to convert it to a recurring expense, you would start that in the month that you wanted it to start, instead of going all the way back to the beginning of the year. Does that make sense?
Yep.
But you would just create it. So once you realize you're going to be doing this expense on a regular basis, just create a recurring expense. Tell it when you want it to start, how long you want it to go for. If you want it to end at a certain time, go ahead and end it, or leave it on for forever. And then just hit save. And it'll add that in automatically moving forward from the date that you select.
I loved this feature because it's also customizable. So I know I'm going to spend $400 or $500 a month on fuel, so I could just set an auto expense, and then I could go back, or a recurring expense, and then I could go back and say, all right, that was only $355, or this one was $650, or whatever.
Correct. But it at least puts a placeholder there so that it reminds you to pull those receipts and just edit those receipts. And that's so much easier than adding the whole thing.
Yeah.
Versus, it's time saving by a lot. And honestly, time saved is money you earn.
Great way of putting it. Sue, thank you so much. This was awesome. Once again, this was day 4 of the Notary Assist special training. I'm going to go ahead and post a link, guys. She's got a very generous offer there. If you want to take advantage of the free 30-day trial, no credit card necessary at all, and you get full access to the entire software to get around and tinker and really kind of build this up. If you do end up deciding to buy the software, she's giving you 25% off when you use the Notary Coach coupon code. That'll automatically apply. So, Sue, thank you for spending your 4th of July with us. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome, and everybody have a safe, happy holiday out there. Whatever you're doing, enjoy your day and be safe out there.
Absolutely, guys. Be safe no matter what you choose to do this Independence Day. Thank you for growing yourself and your business.
Bye.